Hello. So it's the start of the furniture build, and although I'm not doing anything particularly special compared to every other YouTube builder out there, it's my fourth van, so I thought I'd share my thinking, my thought process behind some of the decisions I'm making around what I'm putting where and when, in the hope that it'll benefit others. So here I'm starting to measure up the dimensions for the shower room, and using masking tape stick a rough outline of the space onto the van floor, which gives you a much clearer idea of the internal space you've got to work in. And as you can see from my 3D renderings, which I still keep up to date, it's really important to have at least a plan as accurate as it can be of where everything's going to go, so that when you do start the build you can modify and update accordingly and check that everything fits. Those bed cushions are obviously critical to get right, not only for the bed base but for storage. And you can see the shower room there and how I'm trying to retain access to the shower even when the double bed's down. So it's going to be the shower tray, and that will kind of dictate everything else that's in the van from that point. There's a flush wall on this side, full flush to the back of the seat belt mounting points, and that wall will also form the basis of the back of the seat base, or the seat box, for the dinette seats in the front here. So I'm going to start, I haven't ordered the shower tray yet, but it's 800 by 700. I'm going to start by building or cutting the wall that goes up. The wall behind the seat here, the one that forms the front of the shower room, needs to go up and be scribed to the curve of the ceiling, and then come out 700mm and go back down to the floor nice and square. And I've got, I don't know if you can see it, I've got a plumb bob, just a bolt on the end of a bit of thread. The van is more or less level, so I'm going to use that as my straight edge to determine this front corner, because having a vertical that's absolutely upright is critical, as a critical first point, because from that everything else will be measured. Okay, I've got the plumb bob where I think I want it to mark the first panel cut. I don't know if you can see it, but the seat back I want to be 835mm. I'm upside down, aren't I? And I'm not worried too much about front to back, because I know the van's not completely level, it's only just off bubble, but side to side that marks good. It's just taped to the ceiling. So I'm gonna cut some cardboard, and the key thing is getting the scribing into this section, which shouldn't actually be too bad. It's flat obviously to that point, and there will be more board there to the wall, so it's really just that angle, that first angle there, down to the what will be the front of the shower room. So let's do that bit of scribing with cardboard. So we know that's 835 at the bottom. I'm just going to measure up from the side wall, so it's going to be square up from the floor, let's say 80 to 65, and then we can see next to the plumb bob, from 65 it's still 83.5, but then it starts tapering in, so we can do some math to figure out by the time it gets to there. In actual fact, I think that last section is the same angle, so by the time it gets to the top we're at, with a bit of board, 68 the top. So crudely, we've got a height. Well, I don't know the height yet actually. That's 835, and this is just for the board, and we went up 68. I'll check that, and then came in to a point at the top, which again, ironically, well not ironically, coincidentally, was 68 as well. So that height is quite a crucial one that we need to know, and then we can work out what that angle is from the difference between these 2 points. I will just measure the full height now. It's almost exactly my height actually. Let's do it 1885. No, I'm going to go 1890. 1890. Last thing to figure out on our little sketch is at what point I can cut back to the front of the shower room from this wall, which is going to be the back of the seat, because obviously the seat back only needs to come up to where your head's going to be, and then it can come in. So we've got our plan for the first cut, always the scariest bit I find. So let's get some of the ply out. Now I got this ply from a chap who buys seconds or damaged batches or wood from companies that go bust, and checked it all over, and it looks absolutely fine for my purposes, and it's just about 20 quid less a plank, a board, so very happy with that. Let's get the first sheet out. This isn't actually the first fitting, it's the second. I've just trimmed space for the heating pipework in that corner and shaved a little bit off the top. So that panel's in. It's not actually attached to anything, but it fits so snugly I don't need to worry about it at the moment. I've even been driving with it in. It's just left enough space at the back there for the lining. I'm doing it before the lining so I can see where the mounting points are and adjust the beams, the support beams as needed. I haven't had to adjust that. So it's marked out the space for the shower, and this will form the back of the dinette seat. So it still needs to be scribed in on this side, but I'm going to cut. I don't need to cut that now, so I'll cut that later. I fitted and tested the diesel heater at the weekend, and that's fine, just running out of the jerry can there. Connected up to the newly cut hole in the side wall. Need to shorten that exhaust pipe, but that was fine. Of course now typically it's getting warmer outside, so I'm less likely to need it while I'm working. doors. I just finished taping up that recess there. That's just going to be like a magazine book phone holder. When the plywood cover is on, it will have a couple of bars across just to hold in whatever we've put in there, and it's designed to match the window on the other side. So let me just close the doors and see what that looks like. Okay, first viewing. Pretty symmetrical. Not exactly matching, are they? But I can mask the bottom of the left-hand side one when I put the ply panel on. I just need to bear that in mind, that when I cut that one, I need to cut a mirror image for that side, really. But you get the idea. Card done. To figure out, I guess just put screw caps to cover the screw heads, but it's mounted and it works, and the door closes. Nice and tidy. Bit to be expected. Oh, you bastard though. Damn it. Oh man, that's mills. There's mills on both sides. I should put them on before I did the carpet. There we go, there's a lesson right there. I didn't measure enough. That's okay. Bit of unwrapping. Which one do I unwrap? Well, I have to unwrap that one because that one's longer, so it needs to be cut shorter. It's a three-side cut, unfortunately. That's into the rub behind the rubber on that side. This is behind the cardboard on this side. Actually, maybe I could angle it. The thing is, I can't. What I've got. Oh, I could angle it. Let's do that first. You don't want to watch this bit though. Okay, after adjustments, you can't quite see the top. After the adjustments, I didn't take the door cards off. I've just managed to jiggle them. It's looking pretty good, isn't it? Got it to line up at the bottom along here, but also that gap is almost invisible when they're closed, which is amazing. The only problem is on this side, the card is behind the rubber here, so it's putting pressure on the rubber. I don't think it's a problem. I can't be bothered right now to cut it. So now the question is, what do I cover these with? You still do that side, but is it carpet, or is it this carpet, or is it four-way stretch? The dark grey stuff that I've got on the other pillars. Have a look at the footage.
Waking up to all those tunes, it's my ideal Saturday. Well, thank you. Trying to cut some time to call this. No, I'm definitely still in bed if I was at home right now. And I'll be going back to bed after the show, I don't mind telling you. Hello to Leandra, working hard getting money.
Finished carpeting the rear pillars. So these are, there's a bit of a lump there which is weird, it's actually in the fabric. This is just standard four-way stretch vehicle automotive carpet, but it's over thin ply 3mm, I think, and then there's some padding under there and a four-way stretch carpet over the top. It's quite good with the doors closed. Let me show you. It's still quite dark actually, but it ties the light grey of the door cards with the dark grey of the ceiling, I think. There was a real quandary about whether to just use the same grey for the doors on the pillars, because if I did that it would just be light grey everywhere. I wanted to break it up, so I hope that works. I figured I could always mount my grey carpet over the four-way stretch, mount this over the four-way stretch if I needed to. It would just be extra padding. But that's come out well, so let's hope that's a sign of things to come.